Regional Elite Motorsports, and I am your host, Isaiah. And today we are going to focus on the fuel system for all the newcomers. Definitely welcome, and you definitely made a good choice purchasing this car. It may be a little daunting at first, trying to figure everything out, but it's 80s, it's old, so some things can be updated, and we're going to see where, starting with the fuel system. So let's dive in. So, fuel systems. So, of course, you'll have your injector here and injector over here. This is going to be your feed for your fuel, 2 bolts to hold on the line. And if you follow this line down, you'll see there's a fuel filter, black or silver. Usually black if it's been replaced, silver if it's original or like a goldish color. And then this is the fuel return, okay. This is the return to the tank, and this is the regulator. It's vacuum regulated. That regulates what your fuel pressure is going to be. So if you put a regulator after the regulator, you could be doubling your fuel pressure. You'll have 40 PSI of fuel pressure in this portion, and then an additional whatever this regulator is doing from here back. So best thing to do if you're going to put an aftermarket regulator is you want to tap this side over here, and this is why I have this off the car so you can actually see it. There's an Allen head here that you could take off, and then you can put a 90 degree and a gauge so it faces you, and you'll get the most accurate readings. So if you do decide to put an aftermarket regulator here, at least you'll know the actual fuel pressure at this point and at this point. So that's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it is taking this piece off completely. Take it off, cap it, and then run the return line out of this one and to the regulator. So now you'll skip this one completely because it's blocked off, and you'll be direct with your regulator, and you can use the gauge that comes on the regulator if you have that set up. So from there, the fuel line continues under the car as steel, goes all the way back to the gas tank, which the gas tank is located here. Now you have covers under here, so you'd have to take those down to get to the actual tank, and then to drop the tank is technically kind of easy. So only thing you have to do is take down the tube, the vent for the tube. Then after that, take down the bolts that bolted in, unplug the plugs, which mine is done aftermarket, so ignore this. Basically what this is ground and power directly to the aftermarket ECU. Yours is ground and power, and it has a plug that sits usually in this area or up against this area, and that controls your fuel pump. We'll get into fuel cut a little bit later, but fuel cut basically on the stock plug, you can ground the end of the fuel pump to any part of the chassis so it doesn't cut the fuel pump off to cut the fuel. So that's just a little hint there. But we have a little cover here that accesses most of the fuel system, but not all. On some Starquest members, you'll see them cut up to here to remove the fuel pump from the trunk and not have to drop the gas tank. I actually think it's a better idea to drop the gas tank, because then you can see the state of the gas tank to make sure it's not rusted. To each his own. But I'm going to open up this cover so we can see what's in there. Okay, so my fuel system is completely different, but I still want to show you this just so you can get an idea of what is going on here. So this is an aftermarket unit, Hellcat erase that out of your mind for a second. And let's pretend that the line coming out of the tank, which is a feed line, goes to the fuel pump, which would be right here, right? Now, in this line, okay, remember we're imagining, there's a filter that usually gets clogged in this line. So you would take this piece off from the fuel pump, and if you pull out the hose on the back of the fuel pump, which is the pickup side, which would be over in this area, there's a cone filter screen. That'll get clogged more often times than not because of whatever's going on in the tank. So I'm going to show a picture right up over here of what the stock system looks like, and you could see what the cone filter looks like. So let's take a look at that. Okay, perfect. And boom, that's it. So this fuel system is called an inline fuel pump, but I've converted it to a in-tank fuel pump. It's a Hellcat pump and AN lines and all of that good stuff there. Kind of simplifies it a little bit, and I'm pretty sure it's more easily serviceable because of how it's set up. See? But yeah, not too bad. So let's put this back. Alrighty. Okay, let's get the screw. Put that back in here. So basically, in a nutshell, that is the fuel system of your stock Starion once you open it up and take a look at it. So, yep, so that's going to cover fuel system. Also, let's talk about pump for a second. Now, if your fuel tank is clean and everything, you'll be able to upgrade your fuel pump, and it'll be probably highly recommended instead of using a pump that is, 30 plus years old. So I'm going to show you a picture of what the pump looks like again, and then I'll show you some options of what you can go to for the inline system. Okay, so let's take a look at that. Okay, so now we're going to dive into injectors. Now, these injectors are no good. Let's get that out the way immediately. And I siliconed it just to hold it together because this is a prime example of these injectors falling apart. It has a plastic band that goes all the way around, and if it cracks, it sprays fuel out of it. Doesn't matter if it's a small crack, big crack, it sprays. It's pretty bad. So this is more so for the 87 to 89, and then the older years, flat body, things of that nature, run two blue ones, and it works a little differently. It actually does a firing both injectors at the same time with a rising and falling rate type of, as the RPM goes up, how it adjusts. Now this one is for idle, which is the black one. And then when the boost, or if you go over 2,000 RPM, goes into the green. So this 1cc is 650 more or less. And then this one is like 980 cc. And the spray pattern, I haven't found another replacement injector that has a better spray pattern than the original, but the spray pattern of these actually fan, so when it sprays, it does a cone. to make sure it saturates the whole intake manifold and gets the best atomization, especially available from something that was derived from the 70s and used in the 80s. So I'd like to get these on an injector tester just so you can see how they spray. Hopefully they do spray, but I know these leak, so I'll try to cover these up so it doesn't spray everywhere. But yeah, let's give them a test and see exactly how they spray. Okay, so I gotta put a rag in front of this green injector because it's leaking pretty severely, but at least I'll be able to show you guys the test just so you can see how they spray. So we're gonna put it at a low speed and see what it looks like. You see that atomization? That is tough to compete with for this type of injector, especially at these odd sizes. So these injectors work, but they are leaky. So see if I can do something about that, but so far, no go. So yep, this is what it looks like inside your engine. This one's the small one, this one's the big one. So let's put in another test. Now you may be wondering, why does the injector spray that way? Well, for the stock intake manifold, it soaks the whole intake manifold because remember, it's throttle body injected, so it's sprayed on top of the throttle. So everything after the throttle is soaking wet with fuel. So that's pretty much the way it needs to be. Yeah. So make sure you take care of your injectors, and of course, if you need a cleaning service, I do provide. Just contact me through my website, which is legionelitemotorsports.com, and I will definitely be able to take care of it for you. Just click the contact and contact the number, and that's it. So yeah, that's just an example of what we have on your stock Starion. And again, welcome to the Starquest world. We're glad to have you, and I'm going to do more episodes so you can learn more about the car. And with that being said, we're going to call it an episode right there. I hope you guys enjoyed, and remember to subscribe, hit that bell icon for updated notifications, and I'll see you guys next time. But before I go, I just want to let you guys know that the website is definitely up. I do need to update it, but it's up. You can click for customer support, and it has a number up there, and it'll get everything taken care of. Just contact that number via text or phone call, and you'll be completely supported. So with that, remember guys, knowledge is power, and I will see you guys next time.